All right, welcome to another video from the chart readers. So today we will be looking at the psychedelics. There are actually a few interesting setups. One of them is what we're looking at right now. But before we get into the details, let's talk about what we're going to do, right? So we will look at the daily and the weekly. We have our 5 moving averages. I make these horizontal support and resistance lines manually, and then when we're done up here, we will use the MACD and the RSI as our lower indicators. Again, 80% of the work is up here. This is the 20% confirmation cherry on top. Hey, real quick, I don't ask this too often, but if you could please hit like, I would really appreciate that. It does good with the YouTube machine, right? So, okay, getting into why this is an interesting chart. Let me actually zoom out a bit because this is actually a pretty, this is a good standard setup, and I talk about a lot of this often. So first off, it's hard to see from the view, right? But 1, 2, 3, 4, all 5 of the moving averages are right here, and it starts to basically cluster horizontally, go, 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 go. Once it loses it, it's really bad, and all it's doing is going down and following the 8 down. Obviously, this gap down was horrible, and we do have a line. Once it crosses this, we know we're ready, and look, it's actually lining up to the 50, so that might mean something, right? From there, look, it goes real down, and then it starts to horizontal. And it's horizontaling for a pretty long time, and we're now sitting in a cluster of 2, right? What I do like as I start getting into where we're at today, so we actually do close over the 20. Look, I obviously want to get over the 8, but I am happy that we got over that line. I'll take it for sure, right? And if Monday's confirmation is good, that'll probably get us over the 8. Again, we're going to need 2 confirmations, right? We're going to want one to confirm that we broke the 20, and then hopefully if that happens tomorrow, we're going to need Tuesday to confirm we also broke the 8. But I like the RSI down here. It looks like it's trying to start going up, and it's been so tight, and it kind of seems like it's trying to get out of it, right? So we're basically sitting at that peak, give or take. Yeah, hopefully, right? Obviously, we've seen this before and we saw it come down. It's going to have a lot to do with good confirmation, right? But if we get good confirmation, we might break out of this horizontal. We might make our way up to the 50. Hey, maybe this will be a good, I probably should draw that. I'll be honest. I think that will be a good line. I could see 311 maybe being a little bit of a barrier, but again, that looks like about 10%, right? You're going to add roughly 30. That'll actually, it's a little bit more. It's almost 15%. But yeah, that could be a nice little 15% gap. And then again, if we break this, we're making our way up to here, right? I'll be honest, I don't know where this line came from. Maybe we'll see it on the weekly, but once we break the top of this, which is essentially the top of that day, hopefully we get a nice gap fill up, okay? So definitely keep mind medicine on the view. Look, again, it by no means is this a good weekly, right? This is really ugly RSI, but this is probably one of the lowest RSIs we've seen. So it might make a little sense that this is pretty super oversold and at least could use a little bit of love up, right? I'll be honest, I don't know where this $4, I'm going to get rid of this line. Just that one, because again, I liked this first. Did I get rid of the wrong line on the daily? No, I got rid of the right one. Good, good, good. Good. Sorry. So yeah, if we can break this, again, even on the weekly, there's just a real hard gap almost to $8, right? So at the minimum to 670, basically, if it could run past the 8 up to the 20. But a lot's going to start with Monday, Tuesday. We want 2-day confirmation, right? One will be hopefully Monday that says we broke the 20. That'll get us over the 8, hopefully. And then we'll need one more just to say, yeah, we're definitely over both and we're working our way up, right? So MACD's almost at the 0 too. So it's obviously better to be positive than negative. So again, a good amount of things happening here. CYBN. Okay, so real interesting, okay? Real interesting right here. This is a doji followed by what? Another doji. You gotta love that, right? I mean, in all honesty, I don't know if you love that or hate that. I'm not necessarily saying I even know if that's good or bad because I am not much of a shape guy. But generally, you don't see the 2 back-to-back doji like that. I'm not gonna lie, you can kind of hear the excitement, right? I think what this is basically saying is, look, we want to make a monster move, and I don't know if we're gonna go up or down, right? I'm still a little bummed. It's been under the 8 all these days. Looks like it's what, 7 days, give or take. There's a little bit of a curve up happening, but again, these are just wild back to backs. I'm hoping Monday will be a little, it'll hopefully be a monster move one way or the other, right? Again, I wouldn't put any money in until I saw some good confirmation. Overall, a lot's going to have to happen over this 20, right? Because even if it breaks the 8, the 20 is just a little too close for comfort for me, and I would wait for that 20 to break, right? As I zoom out again, look, there was one 20 attempt, and you can see it never got a good back-to-back confirmation, and then it just kind of started riding down the 8 with the 20 following. So yeah, a lot needs to happen here before I would get in. Nonetheless, I think this back-to-back doji definitely means something, and in my opinion, it might mean a monster up or down on Monday. The fact that Mind Medicine looked good might be a good thing. The next stock, the ATAI that we're going to talk about, this was a must watch last week. It didn't happen. So again, if that one sets up again, maybe CYBN follows. But overall, doesn't look great. Obviously, this is a real bad weekly. That's a bad RSI and bad MACD on a bad weekly too. So that's not good. But that said, hey, if this can make a little swing here, look, there's a nice little healthy gap between the 20 and the 50, right? So just kind of keep that in mind. Overall, I'd say I wouldn't touch this thing until 45 cents, right? 45 cents will get you over the 20 for sure. And then again, you're coming up to roughly 52 cents right there, right? So that's a real big percent jump. That's almost, what, 25%, give or take? So, right, because, yeah, 4 cents, that's some big percents right there. So watch the 20 on this, but I would bank profits here pretty quickly because all this is saying nothing sustainable just yet. Okay, so ATAI, this was a must watch last week. That was my wife calling me. So this was a must watch last week. It didn't happen, but it's still, not too far away, right? I'm going to zoom out a little bit on this one because, I don't do this that often with individual stocks. But look, it also does apply to stocks. So look, we're going to take the top of here and we're just going to go down until we hit, right? We basically hit right there, right? We hit the top of that. We are sitting on a monster downtrend line right now, right? Since what looks like, oh my gosh, November of last year, we're almost in a 1-year downtrend here, okay? If we can break this line, that's monstrous, right? And again, that's why we liked it last week. It seemed like it was going to happen. Sorry, it should be down here, right? But it seemed like this was getting close. It's made one attempt here, a little test here, a little test here, maybe another attempt here. But if this line breaks, that could be a real big thing, So that's why this one was on the must-watch list. From there, look, it's at least on the 50, right? So just the 50 alone break is good. That monster downtrend adds a lot to it. So this is a golden cross. Again, I think we want to see confirmation that it keeps going up, right? But look, this is a bad one too. Looked like it broke the 50, did not get the confirmation we wanted. I'm glad we're at least near 50% candle. You can kind of say we're either at it or just above it, right? So hopefully Monday brings us back over the line. Last thing we want to do is come down. I will say though, if we come down, we better bounce off this, right? We can't lose this. So overall though, it kind of looks like I said, a lot like what we saw with Mind Medicine. It went down, it's starting a horizontal. Hopefully it wants to go up as well, right? So let's just, again, and the fact that we've now looked at 3, 2 look good, and 1 had that double doji uncertainty, right? I'm hoping it means it's overall good for this sector, right? So Did I look at the weekly? I don't remember. Nonetheless, hey, I don't think I did because look, this is a 2-week over the 8, right? Not the best candle, but hey, look, even though it went down, we closed above last week. I like that, right? Hopefully this week we can break this 232 by end of week, right? By next Friday. So ATAI overall, I'll take it. Could be better indicators, but again, I'm happy up here. 80% of the work is up here. And man, break this 50 means break a 1-year downtrend, right? So real big. Compass, CMPS. Okay, interesting. Look at that. Back on this 50 again, right? This one didn't do as nice an early break because watch, let me just go back very quickly to ATAI. This actually opened over it and came down. This actually closed above it, but then bad confirmation, right? This one, sorry, CMPS, I forgot the ticker. I was looking at my notes. Has not really broken the 50 at any point. 2 good wicks, I'll say that. There were some intraday moments when it got there, but again, we care just a little bit more about the candle body itself. I care where it opens, where it closes, where it opens, where it closes. Does it doji or not, right? Those are kind of the things that I talk about. Wicks are important for some people. I'll be honest, not too much for me, but I mean, you know, I mention them often, right? So, but again, that said, the 50 is going to be important. And I'll be honest, I'm going to kind of just do the same zoom out. Yeah, I mean, look, it does look like it's actually doing the same thing. I'm going to go from the top of here. We're going to work our way down until we hit right here. Okay, so yeah, definitely not as tight by any means. But again, still something. Not really. It was nothing. It's okay. Sometimes I try to look for commonalities and they're not there, right? But nonetheless, this really is a lot about the 50. In general, right now, this is not looking good, right? Because it looked like it wanted to break out of this. Definitely failed breaking both. And it looks like the green wants to come back down. So again, this definitely went down. This is still going horizontal. But if you remember, Mind Medicine went horizontal for actually quite a while before it kind of started to maybe make a move, right? We still need Mind Medicine to prove something. I'd say Compass might be the worst one right now so far. Hey, and then just with that, SEEL comes in. All right, so look, again, pretty textbook, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. This one is kind of getting away, but at least these 3 stay here. Try to make a move, decides, nope, I'm going to fall back, and then just falls down hard. Looks like there's a curve. There's not a bad RSI, but again, this is actually pretty tight, so I would almost say this is irrelevant down here. Right now, what I'm really seeing is a fall out of the cluster. Hey, maybe the rest of the sector does well, and this kind of moves up, but again, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not that far from each other, right? So it would be a little difficult to believe it'll break back up into the ones, but hey, maybe it can get a lift close to the ones, right? And kind of fall back into the channel. So yeah, that's kind of what I see here. Best case scenario is it falls back into the cluster and moves horizontally. Otherwise, I mean, like we've seen many times, once it loses a cluster, it could get really bad. So again, I'm not really going to count this down here because this is a little tight, even though I like the peak. You know, I like the peak, but yeah, ooh, I don't like this at all. Again, it's going way down. This is starting to become a cluster. This still wants to go down. That's real ugly. That's real ugly. And I'm kind of starting to see this downtrend a little bit versus going horizontal up here like it was, right? So I would actually be a little bit worried about SEEL. This might be the worst one so far. Last on the list, again, this one is actually last for a reason because this one is a deep penny stock, literally 6 cents, right? One of the things I don't like, right? When you go, oh my gosh, this is a horrible version of it. So look, we're looking at the minute and there's no candles. Look at this. This is one candle here, and then from there, a whole mess of nothing, right? If I go to the last one we were looking at, this one's not even great because you have a couple candles and some dashes, right? You don't want to see that. When you see that, that kind of means the technicals aren't going to be, oops, MNMD. Again, a little bit more candles forming, but still not the best trading, right? When I look at, let's go to a wheat stock. Tilly. What's Tilray look like? Oh, wow, interesting. I would not have guessed that this was the minute. Um, is it because of the weekend? Like, what happened? Hold on, AAPL. Oh my gosh, AAPL. Yeah, okay, look. This is a good minute where you get real candles during the minute. Technicals work great with Apple, right? MNMD looks like it has more candles, but way too many dashes, right? Then we went into SEEL, which actually had less candles and a lot more dashes. And then we went to the extreme of TRUFF, which was literally a joke of trading, right? So this is a good way to see how good technicals are going to work. Go to the minute, see what it looks like. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm really surprised Tilray's look like this. I mean, it's a little more candly, but it's definitely more horizontal than I really would have expected. I guess there's still some movement. There's a couple better ones at some point, but interesting. I actually really would have expected Tilray's to be like this. I mean, not to be like this and be a little closer to Apple, I guess, but interesting. Nice. We all learned stuff together. Back to what we were doing, though, was TRUFF coming to the daily. What's happening? Look, this is literally just starting to lose this cluster right here of what looks like all of them. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, all 5 of them. And it's starting to work its way down. The green one's going down, right? I mean, all of them are kind of starting to look like they want to go down, right? The one thing with this thing, though, is that with the right volume, and again, I don't even know what the daily average is on this thing, but with the right volume, this thing could make a silly spike, right? So I generally say kind of stay away from these when the minute looks like this. And again, we can just zoom out a whole lot, right? This is not a good chart at all. And if you see this, I like to say stay away. So quick fun fact. All right, I hope you're learning. Again, there's some interesting setups with at least 3 of these, right? So we'll see what the week looks like. I hope you're learning.